Schools across the country are trying to find ways to best protect students. One Idaho school district has already had its own protection measures in place for several years. The Lakeland School District is the only district in Idaho to have full-time armed guards, as well as school resource officers. Their goal is to have armed coverage at all 11 of their schools, which are spread across Rathdrum, Athol, and Spirit Lake. New at 6, Rania Kaur in studio tonight with their approach to school safety.
Nia, the district is currently in the process of hiring their 4th armed guard at an elementary school. The position has been open since April, with only a little number of applicants until now. In an emergency, every single second counts.
And seconds save lives.
The Lakeland School District covers a large area from Rathdrum to Athol. In the case of an emergency, it could take up to 30 minutes for law enforcement to reach a school.
Situations start and end much quicker than 30 minutes.
The district wants to hire a 4th armed guard to protect an elementary school in Rathdrum. So in case there's ever an emergency, it just takes seconds for an armed guard to respond instead of minutes.
Initially, when we first opened it, we didn't get a lot of applicants, which I was actually a little bit surprised about. Since Uvalde, we probably have doubled the number of applicants.
All of the armed guards in the Lakeland School District are former law enforcement officers that have been through a thorough vetting process, from a polygraph test to a psych evaluation. All of them are experts at de-escalation.
When we hire teachers, we want them fully focused on teaching kids. And when you're somebody now who's been tasked with keeping the school safe, it's hard to, your attention's diverted, and we want the focus on the kids.
Mike Hogan is on guard at Athol Elementary School all day. The former New Mexico State police officer was retired with over 2 decades of experience.
And I thought this might be the one position I would be willing to come out of retirement for, because I knew I could help and do a good job.
John Hatcher is always at Lakeland High School.
My first job here is to do whatever it takes to protect the students and staff at the school.
Texas done did it. School officials can now carry guns inside of the local school system. Let's go ahead and get it. Put up the picture full mass of the erudite board who made this decision. This is in Keller, Texas. A school district board meeting approved a policy that would allow staff members to be armed on campus. On December 12th, the Keller Independent School District met to discuss their Guardian program, a program meant to defend against an active shooter until police arrive. This comes in the wake of the May 24th Uvalde shooting that killed 19 children and 2 adults at Robb Elementary. Now, what they're saying is if a teacher would have been armed during that Uvalde shooting, all of those children would not have been shot. Well, let's analyze the data. The police, who were armed and trained and had protective gear, they failed. They did not execute their duties properly. So you're telling me that all of a sudden a school teacher is going to become Rambo, untouchable, fearless, no training, no equipment, no gear, no backup. But that's your plan, creating a false sense of security for those who are around that teacher or administrator. Here's something else. The reality is, at the Uvalde shooting, guess what? It was a parent, multiple parents actually, who broke through the barrier of police. They were unarmed. They saved children, unlike the police did. So what does it take, a gun? No, it takes heart. It takes heart. Also, insurance companies typically will fail to insure a school district after this policy is passed. The reason is because they are afraid of either A, a teacher having a bad day, or B, a student getting their hands on wherever that gun is located inside of that school, because it's on an untrained person. There's more. Prior to the vote, the district sent out a survey to analyze reactions. All right, this is testing the political winds. 35,000 recipients received the survey. It included parents, teachers, and community members and leaders. Only 9% responded. Out of that 9%, they still chose to move on with the policy anyway. Under the new policy, this is the new rule. Under the new policy, some employees would become guardians voluntarily and would have to meet certain firearm training and other requirements. District leaders could remove the employee's authorization status at a moment's notice. Now, Okay, maybe if you remove it, it's too late to be removed. Just a thought. Parents who attended the meetings, well, they had mixed feelings. All right, some of them supported it, others did not. And those against this measure believe this could further endanger their children. I concur with that sentiment based on historical evidence. We have reported on multiple situations where teachers, against the rules of the school, brought a gun. That gun ended up either going off or getting into the wrong hands. We reported on that right here. One board member who's against it is a retired teacher who pointed to a survey that found an overwhelming number of teachers were opposed to carrying firearms. When you have 848 people that say no, and you have 60 people who say yes, I think that speaks loudly, said board member Ruthie Keys. They don't give a damn about the teachers. They don't give a damn about the students, and they don't give a damn about the community. Universally, virtually all of these groups are basically against the item. This is a political dynamic. That's the only people who are for it. Those who subscribe to a political ideology and are empowered to execute. Politicians, they're the ones moving this, all right? Doesn't make sense whatsoever. Ironically, a teacher was actually shot by a student, is against arming the faculty. Now, this is a hell of a dynamic connected to the story. John Moffat, a retired Montana principal, was shot by a student. He's a teacher opposed to arming his colleagues. Imagine what would happen if you introduced into that scene somebody on staff carrying a weapon and running adrenaline charged into that, he stated. It's almost impossible for me to imagine that it wouldn't have been worse. Negligent discharge incidents, such as when a 6th grade Utah teacher mistakenly shot a school toilet when she recklessly placed it on top of the toilet paper dispenser, only support this sentiment. School teachers are remarkable people. My mother, who adopted me, is still a school teacher. She loves her job. She doesn't want teachers being armed. Know why? Because that's not what they signed up to do. You have resource officers, you have opportunity to engage, you have other services who are designed to do that. Also, teachers do have bad days. And what if there's a fight in the school? What would have ended in a fight being separated now ends in a student getting shot by a teacher because they have a gun on the premises and they feel as if they have the authority to use it anytime they are threatened. This is bad. There are 3 states where legislation like this is always tested first: Georgia, Florida, and Texas. There's some ambiguity with Mississippi and Alabama, but you're guaranteed those 3. Now Texas has it. Guess what? Next year, we're going to be reporting on other states doing the same.